Well, welcome back to another episode. This one's going to have the Gibb River, or mainly what I did to prep for the Gibb River, but this will also go for any other off-road travel that you do in your caravan with your car. So this one's coming from the Ivanhoe crossing as we've just finished the Gibb. So this one here will be car, which isn't really too much, but we'll get stuck into it. So really the only big thing I did for the car was before we left for the trip, I put a K&N air filter in, like a panel filter. That just helps with a little bit of performance, but it's also cleanable. So every couple of days while we're traveling, I just clean it out using just the K&N cleaner, K&N oil, and just wash it out with a bit of soapy water. And that sort of helped it out pretty well. And what we also did on the snorkel is I chucked one of these snorkel socks on. Now that caught a ton of dirt, and every day, every 2 days, 3 days, whenever it get bad, I'd put the cleaner through it, give it a clean, and then just re-oil it with the same oil. So every 2 or 3 days I was cleaning my air filter and my snorkel sock, just to stop the dust from getting in and let the car breathe. And saying that also, if you can get to your cabin filter, because when you're traveling off-road, you'll have your aircon on recycle. If you can get to your cabin filter to clean that out every couple of days, it'll stop a heap of dust too. Because after about the first week on the Gibb, I didn't clean it out, and I was noticing there was a fair bit of dust coming through the aircon when it was on recirculate, I think it is. So yeah, once I started cleaning that out, the dust inside the car came to a minimum as well, which was then a heap better because I didn't have to clean the inside so much. Now, as for prepping your car for off-road travel, there's not a great deal you can do. Anywhere you can grease, any grease points under the car, just make sure you grease it. I've got aftermarket upper control arms, so I was greasing those once a week sort of thing, just to make sure they were all good. And then tyre pressures. Now, depending on what road you're traveling on, your tyre pressures will change. But on the Gibb River, I had 20 in the front, cold, 22 in the rear, cold. Just because I don't have a heap of weight in the back. Well, there's no weight really, there's virtually only the kids' bikes in there and some toys. Now with 20 in the front cold, 22 in the rear cold, after about an hour of driving, the rears were sitting there at 26 and the fronts were at 22, 23 degrees. So they were going up a fair bit in pressure, just from the heat of the day, and then also working hard on the corrugations. I got the iCheck World Tyre Pressure Monitoring System, so I could see exactly what the pressures were doing. And with outside temps of about 35 degrees to 38 degrees when we done the Gibb, the tyre pressure, the tyre temperature was about 40 degrees. So it wasn't going up too much from the outside temperature, and it wasn't going up because I had low pressures. And running those low pressures on the bad part of the Gibb, you're only doing about 40 kilometers an hour at most. So running really low pressure doesn't really affect anything, but it does help enormously with you going over all the sharp rocks. It lets your tyre mould around the rock instead of having a heap of pressure in it and the rock piercing through your tyre. Now when we get back to the van, I'll go through the van and what I did with the van. That was pretty much all we did for the car. Just make sure the air filter and stock were clean every day, and then just monitoring your tyre pressures. And honestly, the lower the better. It's not going to hurt anything. I mean, if I had a big aluminium canopy, if I had a ton of tow ball weight, which I don't, I probably wouldn't be at 22 cold. I might have been around 25, 26. And it also depends on your tyre and how much it bags out. But that's what we did through the Gibb, and not a drama. One thing I did forget to mention is before we started the Gibb, halfway through the Gibb, and when I finished the Gibb, I also checked all the bolts on the bull bar, bash plates, any accessory you have, just to make sure everything was tight and didn't rattle loose or wasn't becoming loose. When we finished Carangini, I had a really bad squeak in the front end, and when I pretty much tightened all my bull bar bolts, every single bolt had about half a turn in it. So yeah, that's another thing to look out for. So just to make sure any bolts you have aren't coming loose. And if you do get onto it before you start any rough roads, put a bit of Loctite on it so then it can't come loose again. So we'll start off with van tyre pressures. So in the car I had 20, 22, 22. So in the heat of the day, as I said, they're only going up to about 26 psi. Yeah, it made the van ride, I mean, a little bit better being so low. But we did not have one issue with any flat tyres or anything like that. That's just what I did. You can do, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, but that's how we did it, and that's how I do it pretty much every time we go off-road. And so far, I've never had an issue. And as I said, the lower the better, really. Just to help your van and your suspension, you know, soak up those bumps a bit more, stop everything rattling around inside, and just give yourself like a nicer ride and a little bit more peace of mind that, you know, you have a better chance of your stuff surviving. So a lot of you have probably already seen if you've watched my other videos, but I'll go through everything again. We have the stone stomper. I do see a lot of people though using like 19mm conduit for this, and they just sag right down low. Go a bit bigger. I think that's a bit of 35 or 42. You can see it's copped a fair hiding. It's all filthy at the moment. But then I also put on this rubber skirt. You see it runs all the way underneath the van, the whole length. It's just sandwiched on with some aluminium that I've just tack screwed in. And I made up some little reinforcement brackets because it was starting to tear. And it just hangs down 150mm lower than the frame. I'm pretty sure that did a fair bit of work as well, stopping the underside of the van from getting trashed. And also protects the stabiliser legs. I've also got the flaps on the front of the suspension arms, just to protect the grease points. I mean, you can see dust still does get in, but just to protect anything like that from rock chips. I also put this one on here. The other side doesn't need it because of the step, but I was noticing a bit of chipping in my chassis through here, and it stops here. So I don't think it's anything coming from this way. I know, I read some bloke's post to put them on the front because apparently rocks do come forward, so I've done that. Whether or not it worked, or yeah, it's just something I've done. And while we're in this part, I'll put up a photo on the screen now of how my drain points used to look. But if you remember in Carangini, we copped a rock through the rear tank and snapped the drain plug off. Now it looked exactly like this. It had a piece of pool noodle on it, and whatever I hit just clean snapped it off. So poo noodles do nothing. So I replaced it with a bung so it can't go anywhere. Now if you are leaving this stuff, I'd suggest putting a mud flap like I've got, because pool noodles don't do anything. And you can see on my exposed stuff up here, I haven't really worried about doing anything up here because it's got the mud flap on the front. I mean, I'll be doing, you know, I'll be pretty unlucky for a massive rock to come flying up here and break something. especially because I'm still forward of the wheels. Now I also have the mud flap for my grey water tank. It's also wrapped in what's that, rubber, and I made a little I don't know, shock for it, just to stop the wobble. And if you didn't also watch my other video, I've also shortened it, so it came out to in line with the van. So I've taken about 250 mil out of it to also give it, you know, stop that, because you can see how they mounted it. It just flexes, so it does nothing. So I shortened it, keeps everything inboard as well, in case I'm brushing up branches and shit like that. It's not gonna, it's got less of a chance to get injured. Now while we're here as well, let's move this. My stabiliser legs were starting to copper hiding all through here from rocks. Probably a good idea to change those little mud flaps too, maybe something a little bit bigger, but we just didn't have time. My stabiliser legs were copping and hiding, so I put this rubber mat on here. So when we're travelling, sort of like, I don't care about this bit, but I just didn't want rocks and anything damaging anything in here. Also, cable tie your caps, because some people we're with didn't and lost a fair few caps. It's only just going to stop grease, the dust getting in, and it will wear out your stabiliser legs quicker if you start using them with the dust and everything in the gears. Now every van's different, so I won't go into too much detail on my setup, but get underneath your van, and any cable, bit of pipe, anything like that that is exposed or you think that will have potential to be damaged by rock or anything like that, your suspension may fling up or come from your car underneath the van, cover it in split tube. I don't really like the pool noodle idea from having our tank break. I'd either relocate the cable so it's up higher, out of harm's way, running behind one of your cross members on your chassis, and I used the split tubing. I'll put a photo up on screen if you don't know what that is, but I call it split tube. Just for any cable, even my plumbing, even my gas hoses, anything that's exposed on the drawbar, anything on the front of the van, and pretty much anything that hangs below the chassis line, especially around your brakes. So the electrical cables on our brakes were just wires sitting on the arms, so they all got split tubed, just to do anything to minimize your risk of damage. Because when you break something, it puts you in a bit of a bad headspace and you get annoyed, which is then going to annoy the missus and the kids. So anything you can do to, you know, get you positive and happy is a good thing. So familiarise yourself with your own van and your own grease points and stuff like that. So I've got a grease point, I've got 8 of them on the suspension arms. I've also got the DO35. I've got 3 grease points on my jockey wheel. I think that's it. But just familiarise yourself with your van, where they are. Take your grease gun with you, extra grease. Now I used bearing grease. One, they didn't have it at the shop, any general purpose grease at the shop where I needed the new tube from. And I figured instead of carrying 2 or 3 different types of grease for different things, I just carry the high temp bearing grease. So that gets me, if I have a dual bearing, I need to repack my bearings, I've got the right grease for that. Realistically, bearing grease ain't going to affect your jockey wheel or your DO35, it's still going to lube it up. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to affect your, what is it? The bushings and the arms of your suspension. It's just lubricant, so anything you can put in there will do really. but I just do bearing grease. It just minimises the other stuff you have to carry. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something else. Oh, familiarise yourself with how to take your wheel off, how to, first of all, check your bearings to see if they're loose, how to take your wheel off, how to adjust your bearings and check them, and then put everything back together. So do a dry run at home before you leave, or even at the caravan park. And if you don't know how to do it, just Google it. I mean, that's how I did it. Or ask the bloke next to you, because the bloke next to you would know how to do it. But all I do to check is you just grab your wheel. You sit there. Start. Grab your wheel. Give it a shake. And if it starts going, it's got any play, you'll feel it. It'll go ding, ding, ding. You'll feel it giving a slight little bit of movement. Couple of hours have come loose on this trip. Yeah, pull your wheel off, pull your cap off, just tighten the crown nut up or whatever you've got to do. Put it back together, test it out. It's something you should know how to do. But if you don't, someone else that you're with will. And that's the other good thing about doing the Gibb or any other really bad dirt roads with, you know, a friend or a little crew. So if you don't know how to do something and you have an issue, sure enough, someone you're with will. Yeah, it's after every sort of, pretty much every time I get out of the car, I'm checking them, because I just don't want to have an issue. Maybe a little bit paranoid about it, but yeah, it's just good to check. It's good to know that you're all right. Actually, while we're on that, one of your checks you should be doing, and I lacked, so I had a, well, it's not really a problem, I think it's this one. Allen key for your cap. So not all of these are real, that's just a bit of plastic. That's a real one. I lost one. And it's annoying me that I don't have one. Whether or not you Loctite that is up to you. But definitely check they're tight, otherwise you're going to start losing caps. And then you're going to have to replace your caps. Now, your vents, you'll see tape, tape, tape. If you peek in there, you can see green. It's because I've got a big bit of green plastic taped to the inside of that. And I'll bring you around this side to our door vent. Taped up. Now, we have the Dometic DRS system on the roof. So, I tape them up, all the outside vents up, to stop the air from going out, you know, finding an easy path out. Now that one up above that window there is just a straight vent, straight out the van, lets it breathe. Same with the one at the door, just straight out. Now my thinking is, I'm not really a stupid person. Some people want to fight me about this on social media. We had some dust come in through our DRS system. Now they're saying because I taped up my vents, that's why the dust come in, which I don't see how that's possible when I have effectively deleted the easy path for the air to take out, especially since we're going low speeds. I've deleted that easy path for the air to take. So the really tiny little bit of airflow that we were getting should be going into the van and finding all the little cracks and pressurizing the van and seeping out the little cracks that way. Now, I know I'm right. I don't see how taping a massive vent in the side of your van is going to stop your DRS system from working. And yeah, you can try and comment below if you think I'm wrong, but these are off your head. And tape the inside of your vents. Now, I've taped the outside of the top one there. I've also taped the inside of it, because when you try to pressurize, when the van tries to pressurize itself, if you have the tape on the outside and the air blowing through it, it's going to push the tape out and create a leak for when you stop or start going slower, the air to come back in. So you're better off taping the inside of all your vents like I have on the door, so the air is pushing onto the tape and the vent, so we can't blow it away. I also taped the outside of that because we did have a little bit of dust coming underneath the fridge. So I just taped around the outside of this to help stop it. And something I never considered, but I've seen a few blokes doing, is taping all this up. Taping your hot water system up. So I put some foam on the inside of this and it presses around the seal. So I'm happy with that. But I was taping up the vents just to stop any dust getting in your hot water system. And then when you pull up the camp and your missus goes to do the dishes at night, she's whinging at you that there's no hot water because the dust is into your hot water system and she can't get hot water. Now, going off the DRS, bloody flies, I don't know, I maybe should have done it every single day, but at the time I didn't think I had to, is the vent in your DRS system. Probably rip it out every morning before you leave camp and tap it and run some air through it with your blower or your compressor and blow all the dust out of it and clean it. Just so it's clean, so it's not blocked, so it's actually working. I'll throw up a little clip now of what ours was doing. Well, it's just the usual culprits. But what is annoying is the DRS does fuck all. Shithouse product. There is dust everywhere in here. I was putting it all over the cabinetry out the roof. So I cleaned it, I don't know, twice on the Gibb. Got a shitload of dust out of it too, so probably should have done that more. But I never cleaned it. Any other dirt road we've ever done, I've never cleaned it since we started the Gibb. It was the original filter that we've left Newcastle, done all our other dirt roads all the way to Broome, but I replaced it in Broome. Never had a speck of dust anywhere in the van, nothing around the doors, nothing. But on the Gibb, we got it all around the doors. Yeah, we had it through the DRS. And also the vents on your roof, the toilet and shower hatches, I reckon it was coming through there. So if you can get some foam put around the seal so that compresses a bit tighter, that's probably a good thing too, because I noticed our toilet always had a light film of dust on it, and I reckon it was getting through one of those vents. Whether or not you can do the same on your roof hatches as well, that's a thing that I'll probably do next time. But yeah, something to think about. Now, something else you're going to have to do on your travel at some point in time is clean your solar panels on your roof. They get covered in dust. There's dust sitting on your bonnet. You bet the same amount of dust is sitting on your solar panels, if not worse, because it's behind you. And you need to clean that if you want good solar. Now for me, I don't have a ladder. I reverse the ute up to the side of the van, jump on the tub, jump on the roof, and then we've got one of those little sponge floor cleaner things, and I clean my solar panels that way. But you need a way to get up onto your roof to clean your panels, whether or not that's one of those little telescopic ladders, or a pair of stilts, or whatever you want to do. But you definitely need to get up onto your roof at some, like, I do it weekly. You definitely need to get up onto your roof and clean your panels if you want that good sun coming in to keep you topped up. The second last thing for outside is some of these can be a little bit fiddly, but you need to know how to adjust your own latches. You can see that one there. I've got to adjust that one. They come loose, they rattle loose. You need to know how to adjust those so you get the right compression on it so it doesn't let dust in. Pretty straightforward exercise, it's 2 nuts. You just got to adjust the latch. But yeah, you need to know how to do that. It's something that you should be checking regularly too, because yeah, they do rattle loose or come loose. And some people think that's a warranty issue, and that is not a warranty issue. You've got to check that. And then the very last thing to do in your prep work is go over the entire van, underneath and inside too, but we'll get to that inside, is every bolt, put a shifter, put a spanner, put a socket on it, your rattle gun. Check every single nut and bolt underneath your entire van. Now it only takes an hour, there's not that many, but you need to know the torque spec that your suspension bolts should be at so you can crank them up and make sure they're all good. All your bolts on your stabilizer legs, all your bolts on your rear bar, your bolts holding your water tank up, any accessories you got on your rear bar, your rear tyre carrier. Same as your car. Any bolt you can get to, make sure it's tight, and if it has come loose, Loctite it. So then you know for yourself that you had a loose bolt and it's not going to come loose again. And that's pretty much the prep work we have done on the outside of the van. Pretty sure. Yeah, we'll go inside once I clean the van, because at the moment it is filthy. Okay, as you can probably tell, we've moved spots, but let's get back into this. I forgot one thing on the car. I do have airbags in the back, which I don't particularly need. Long story short, I got 300 kilo springs in the back there for when I used to have my rear draw system and canopy and all that. So I don't really need any air in the airbags, but I hover around 10 psi on the bags on the road. When I'm off-road, I dump them just to try and give the van and that a little bit more cushion. But when we are going over big whoops, I don't have anything stiff in the suspension that could put any stress on my chassis. Because if you're too stiff in the rear end, that's how you snap your car. But let's get stuck in the inside. Righto, inside. As you can see, it's not very pretty, but I've taped the inside of that. That's that vent from outside. So the DRS system, I'll show you on the screen. This is where it put all the dust over here. And you can even see still, there's a light film of dust on top of the windows, on the fan, and on that. That is from the DRS system. Now, what I mentioned about the toilet hatches, that's pretty dirty. This one here is not too bad. But in the shower, can you see how that lid is red? I reckon that is coming inside the van. And same thing, I had a light film of dust on this over the toilet. My towel rail, look, still on the towel rail. Top of Miller's bed. Super fine, but yeah, just annoying. And sorry about the van. We've just pulled up the camp, kids are asleep, so I've quickly ran in here to film. It's lucky it's not a caravan commercial. So storage of all our stuff. Won't open the cupboards, but we did rearrange some things. We put all our canned stuff beside the bedside tables, and all my beers and stuff all just skirted around here, and then glass, any tins, yeah, it was all nice and low. So upstairs, up top, was just really light stuff, and they even just took advantage of the space underneath the lounge just to hide some stuff in there, like an extra carton of beer and more cans of drink and water and stuff like that, just for when we needed it. Then we pulled it out. Now the biggest thing people have issues with is the fridge. Now for one thing, I've fixed this now, but these panels used to slide up and down, and you can see where they've rubbed. These plastic things here just move, they all unclip, or all used to. You might be able to see there. I've super glued it. I've got super glue on all of this, so all this crap can't move, because it used to do my head in. So that black thing there just sits there. There's a piece of cardboard behind it. You can see how flexible it is. It used to drive me nuts. Yeah, just always moving, unclipping, super frustrating. Found rubber on the side of the road. It was an old truck mud flap. A bit of a hoarder with stuff like this. I like keeping stuff like this. So all we did was just slide it in there like that. In there. Same there. Same there. You can see I've got the baby locks just in case the latch is open. The door can't swing open. I made this leg. It's just a telescopic pole with some rubber feet. Block of timber would work even. And just sit it underneath the fridge like that, just to prop the door. Super rough roads, that will come out sometimes. But yeah, better than nothing, I suppose. Now, in the fridge, I'm in a rush. I've got 3 minutes left on my memory card. You can see I've screwed it there, up there, there, and on that side. Just to the fascia. Our fridge is rock solid. It's not going anywhere. So that was a super important thing I did to prep for the Gibb. Now same with the microwave. These screws here kept on falling out or coming loose. So I T-Rex them, and you might be able to see that little white smidge just there is T-Rex. I T-Rexed the microwave surround to the joinery. Yeah, it's gonna suck if it ever has to come out. But yeah, stop the fridge from the microwave from falling out, which is another super important thing. In all the drawers, I pulled all the drawers out. And all my screws, look, you can see I've lost 2 there already. I checked all the screws. Yeah, that's annoying. I checked all the screws, I thought, and glued all the loose ones that were sort of threaded in hopes that they wouldn't fall out, but yeah, that has. Now another common thing is the screws around the windows and these white caps. When we bought the van, there was a couple that kept on coming loose. Look, this one is doing it now. See how that's come loose? You pull on that. Oh no, the little fella must have grabbed that. But these window screws come loose. So pull every single one of them out, put a dab of Loctite on it and screw it back in. Because when we first got our van, that one there in particular, just driving up the highway would fall out. What else? What else is on my list? Door foam. I'll show this in another video, but we'll do it in this one. Bits of foam. You can see where this foam here comes short because of the hinge. Just foamed it up. You can semi-see remnants of dust here, look, coming inside. That was a hell of a lot worse without that foam there. What else? What else? Window screws, DRS, dust. The shower door. Now, I suppose everyone's shower door is going to be different. But as you can see, pivots from there, 1 point down the bottom, big heavy glass door. So all we did is, I don't have it, but I just rolled up a microfiber cloth, sat it there, shut the door, locked it, just to try and stop that door from wanting to bounce and move, ever coming loose, breaking a hinge, something like that, just to be super mindful of. and with the actual shower. Some people take it off and sit it in a bucket, but all we did was just put it upright. Make sure it's locked down so it can't come off. So let's get into what broke. We broke our TV antenna off the roof, which I'll throw in a clip now. Now, what is different on my roof? I'll give you a second. Could you tell what it's missing? The TV antenna. What a stupid design this is. So top heavy, just that tiny little bit of plastic at the bottom. I knew that was going to come off because pretty much every single one of these antennas breaks on the Gibb. So I was expecting it. Annoyed, but I knew it was coming. We knew that was coming. They all do it, that type of antenna. So that was super annoying, but I was expecting that one, so it wasn't really disheartening. The top drawer latch, that drawer I pulled out just before, it wouldn't quite lock every now and then. Don't know if that was because of the weight or something like that. Well, I adjusted it a little while ago, and it must have moved back to where it was and it wouldn't lock. So I was being too impatient. I grabbed it to try and pull it out a little bit further, and I actually ripped it out. So we broke that on the Gibb, but that's more my fault. Meg's opened a tin of peaches for Emmett, and we didn't do anything else with it. We drove down the road and that upended itself in the fridge, so that was a sticky mess to clean up. And then we smashed a bottle of Tabasco sauce, so that's all we lost in the fridge. We lost the treads off the roof, which I already mentioned. Yeah, so whatever's on your roof, if it's cable tied, don't cable tie it, they break. And then I just had to tighten up a wheel bearing before we actually started the Gibb. But that's pretty much all that we broke. Now the Gibb River Road itself isn't too bad, the first half for us anyway. The last half was reasonably bad, but the Ningaloo Coast Road, that road that runs in between all those campsites from South Lefroy all the way up to Yardie Creek, is worse than the Gibb River Road. That's just my experience. Yeah, so the Gibb River Road itself wasn't too bad. I mean, pretty much, if you're doing a lap or something like that, if you are putting your van down all these roads, you know, might not break the first road, might not break the 10th road, but you are putting, you know, a fair bit of strain on things, and something's going to break. Like, there is not one person that comes down this Gibb River Road where something hasn't broken. Fingers crossed it's just something small or tiny, you know, like some eggs in the fridge. But we were talking to some friends, and we were actually staying with them at that last place we were at the footy field. They snapped their suspension in half on their Great Aussie. They got an 18'6" single axle van, and the cross member that goes across the suspension arms, they actually snapped that. Yeah, we saw rams snapped in half, just from a heap of weight in the back of the car and massive vans. We've seen everything. There's still a bloke getting around here now with a BT50. I don't think he realises he snapped his car, but he's driving around like this. So just don't overload your stuff, because you will put a heap of pressure on things and something will break. So I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. I did write a list out in the 2 weeks we're on the Gibb, and I've gone through everything on the list. That's not to say I haven't missed nothing, but if there is anything else you thought I might have missed, any other questions you might have, feel free to leave a comment below. Happy to answer it. But yeah, I know the big thing is the tyre pressure thing, and I put 2 photos up right now of today driving. I do get some comments about people reckon that 20 psi is too low, but as you can see off these photos, the caravan started out today at 44 psi in the tyres. That was cold this morning at 6 o'clock when we left home. We drove 2 hours to Catherine, it's probably 38 degrees outside by then, the tyre pressure got up to 48 psi. So it went up 4 psi just throughout that little drive on the road. So it's a big thing to be mindful of, that the PSI you want to run, work out what it needs to be cold, so when it's hot you are running that PSI. Because if you're running around with 32 PSI in your car or caravan on the Gibb or any other dirt road and thinking that you've let your tyres down, you're running between 36 to 38 PSI. That's pretty much road pressure. So just keep that in mind. I know I trigger a lot of old blokes when I say that I go down so low, but honestly, I've never had any dramas. That's just my personal experience. I'm going to keep doing it. But yeah, that's a call that yous will have to make. Every setup's different. Everybody's got different weights, different size vans, different setups in the back of their car. But the main thing I reckon about off-road travel is your tyre pressures. So that's it, guys. If there's anything else, leave me a comment below. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range, cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.